How's it going, everybody? Uh, Somebody could let me know if if the audio and everything's working. And there seems to be a pretty long delay uh, from when when I'm watching where you guys are seeing it from. So it's kind of confusing. All right. Oh, thank you, Jersey. All right. Well, how is everybody doing tonight? Too early to tell, huh? All right. Well, tonight we're gonna do something like kind of like what we did a couple weeks ago when did the underrated guitar players. But tonight I want to talk about uh, like bands that have two guitar players. Now there's lots of bands that have two guitar players, but two guitar players that they play together. They play in tandem, doing harmonies and things like that. That's one of the that's like a thing that really attracted me to guitar is that I really wanted to be able to do that. I loved hearing, anytime there was something that was a harmony. So anyhow, I put a little list together here, and this is just it's subject to opinion. So this is and this isn't even necessarily in order. I'm sure that there's stuff that I've forgotten, but these are just ones that came to mind that I think of when I think about two guitar, uh, you know, bands. ZZ Top. ZZ Top is a one guitar band, Jersey. All right. So, yeah. So, like I said, this is it's just like my opinion or whatever. But these are like ones that I really like and ones that were like a big influence on me hearing early on. And there's a couple on here that I bet there's a lot of you probably have never even heard before. So maybe you'll get something new and cool to be able to go check out and listen to. All right. So these are in like no. Oh, my power amp is. I have to shut my amp off. It's starting to make funky sounds. Uh, this is in no particular order. This isn't like what I think is first or last place or anything like that. These are just ones, like I said, that I really liked and that I thought were noteworthy. Jersey, ZZ Top is a three-piece band. One drummer, one bass player, one guitar player. All right. And then something that when I did that one with the underrated guitar players, the video got demonetized. It was because of all that stuff that I shared. Yeah, I know bass guitar, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about two guitars, two like six-string guitar players playing together. Uh, I forgot what I was going to say, but anyway, as we go through this, anybody, or after we go through these and stuff, if anybody's got any suggestions to ones that I missed, then let me know because like I said, I'm sure there's stuff that I missed, and there was also ones that I was like, I want to do that too, but I just I didn't want to have too many on here. All right, so the first one that where did it go? Oh, it's all the way down here. So the first one that I want to look at and talk about is Don Felder and Joe Walsh from the Eagles. So one of the very first harmonized solos that I ever heard that where it like stood out enough that, you know, when as a kid that I listened to it and went, okay, what is that, you know? And it was the Eagles. So their playing and stuff together was definitely like a big influence on me. Hello, Rick. How's it going? All right, I'm got my fingers crossed that the audio is going to work on this. So I guess we'll see. But this is the that particular solo, that part, that whole harmonized part, I think is just really awesome. And that whole guitar solo for that song, I didn't even realize that always thought that it was just one dude, but they actually trade off on that. I watched some live footage and saw that they trade off. It was actually like pretty cool. So, hello, Crit. Yeah, so that is my first pick for the great top guitar duos. What do you guys think? Do you think they deserve to be on the list, the Eagles? I would really, really be surprised if anybody disagreed with that one. Oh, and also, I always forget to mention this. So there isn't any tabs tonight because it isn't like a lesson per se. So, but there is a link in the description where you can download this really cool chord chart from. I'm going to turn this. Yeah, my power amp is about had it, I think. There's a link in there where you can download this really cool chord chart. So it's basically every chord, I mean, obviously not every voicing ever, but like pretty much any chord that you could need is just all on this page, and it's all condensed onto one sheet. So it's really, really handy, useful little tool, and it's free. All right, so as I thought, I didn't think anybody was going to disagree with the Eagles. I'm just going to go ahead and shut that off because it's starting to sounds like a coffee maker. It's like sounds like it's percolating, so I'm just going to shut it off. All right, yeah. So, and again, like I said, these are not in any sort of an order whatsoever. So I'm not saying that they're number 1 or number 10 or whatever, however many I did. Like I said, I just did them in. Just chose the ones that I chose, and then this is the order that it filed them in the streaming software. So that's what I went with. All right, so the next one I want to look at is Chris DeGarmo and Michael Wilton of Queensryche. So if you follow Queensryche, then you know that DeGarmo isn't in the band anymore, hasn't been for a very long time. In fact, there's only, I guess, 2 original members, Michael Wilton and Eddie Jackson, the bass player, but different drummer. The other guitar players changed a couple of times, I think, and then different singer. But anyway, during this, gosh, I have to use a stupid earbud for the sound, and it won't stay in my ear. This is back. I mean, this is back in the 80s from this performance, and this is really good harmony. I think these guys really nailed it with the harmony. Like like maybe in 1990, but I'm not 100% sure. And so I know that some of these clips are like really short and stuff, but I was just experimenting with trying to see what I can get away with without YouTube, slapping my hand for sharing anything and stuff. So Queensryche's one that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, but there are some on here that are a little more obscure that maybe you haven't heard before. But what do you think? Are we in agreement? Is DeGarmo and Wilton good? Do they deserve to be on the list? Oh my gosh, this stupid earbud is driving me crazy. Oh, you agree, Rick? All right, cool. Yeah, man, this whole live streaming thing is a trip. All right, well, moving right along, I guess. Oh crap! Clicked X'd out too many times. Okay, so here's another one that it's kind of. Oh, hello, Dan, Queensryche fan. This one was kind of weird. I didn't. I mean, I'd heard them. I knew who they are and everything. Knew how to learn to play a lot of their songs and stuff like that in cover bands. But I didn't know the ins and outs of the actual members and stuff. But anyway, my next pick is the Allman Brothers. So, what I think was really cool about that with the Allman Brothers is that whole melody is like, it's very much got that bluesy southern rock thing, that major pentatonic kind of a sound, but they still harmonized it and stuff. Sometimes things like that, it's not hard to like do the harmony, but it's hard to like make it. Yeah, I guess to choose the right intervals to make it really sound good or whatever. I'm about ready to toss this earbud. Hello, Michael. Intro to Sweet Jane on Lou Reed's Rock and Roll Animal. I'd have to listen to it again to to re-familiarize myself or whatever, because I don't remember it having like a harmony or whatever, but I mean it very well could. I just don't remember. Yeah, so I think the Allman Brothers, even, and some of these aren't ones where they're constantly playing in harmony. Like I said, there's lots of other bands that have two guitar players, but the whole idea like behind this was just choosing the ones that where they they play together and do like harmonies or like trade solos back and forth and stuff like that. I'm just a really big fan of that. I've always kind of thought if you have two guitar players and they're both just doing the exact same thing, it doesn't really seem like why you need two if they're just playing the same thing. So I like ones where they'll have two parts that like it's two halves that have to go together to make the the riff sound correct or whatever. I'm a big fan of that sort of thing. All right, let's see what's next. Oh, okay. So now we got a pretty big jump into something different. Now this is one that I'm kind of thinking that there's not going to be as many of you that know who these guys are. But the guitarist names is Gene Allen and Alex Nelson. And this is from a band called Lizzie Borden. Now this band is still around, but these guys don't play in it anymore. And when I was, I don't know, probably about 14 or 15, they put out this live album, and the vocalist for this, but they write really cool music, I think. But the singer's voice is, you know, it's an acquired taste. Uh, but these guitar players were top notch, and then this live concert, they did so much just really awesome harmonized stuff that was just really really cool. So yeah, this might be one that maybe you haven't heard, but these guitar players are top shelf players. Crit, you saw them live? And to make clarify, are you saw the Allman Brothers or Lizzie Borden? But yeah, so I mean, they weren't playing anything right there that was like super spectacular. That through that whole solo, they do all kinds of really cool trading off stuff. They do uh, um, a little bit of Bach, you know, because it was, you know, right in the prime of the whole you know, 80s shredder thing. And these guys were from LA, so you know, they were right down there playing with all the other bands that were doing that kind of stuff, which is another one that we'll be looking at. Actually would have been one of the bands that they played with at the time. Yeah, call and response, I dig that stuff too. So you didn't answer my question, Crit. Is that which were you talking about? You saw Lizzie Borden live, or you saw the Allman Brothers live? Oh, well, that's pretty. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right. Let's see here. Oh, okay. So this next one here is one that if anybody knows who this band is, let me know, because I'm, like I said, I'll be really surprised. It's just because they just they never. I mean, they're still going, but they never made, like, you know, became super huge. But these guitar players are really good. I've had the opportunity to play with these guys twice. Once on the Lord of the Strings tour, and then another time when they just came to Utah, and we did a show with them. But these guys are really good. This band is really good. They were like amazing live. All right. Anyway, the band is called Holy Grail. They're from California as well, and the guitar players is Eli Santana and Alex Lee. And I actually read something the other day that gave me the impression that maybe these guys aren't even in the band anymore, but they're really good. They had they would do like YouTube videos, like showing how to play like licks, for some of their licks and stuff, and they were like ridiculously hard. They're like really good. But anyway, yeah. So this is Holy Grail. That's pretty freaking sick, I think, if, you know, I don't say so myself. Yeah, so does anybody heard of this band, or ever, you know, I mean, even know who they are? Oh, so the Allman Brothers. Okay, I was like going to say, man, if you've like seen Lizzie Borden several times, I was going to think you were like super OG. Yeah, Rick, like I said, they're not really like uber famous, but they're really good. and they're a bunch of really nice guys too. But those guitar players are sick. They when we did that Lord of the Strings show, they did this big long thing where they were just trading back and forth for like 15, 20 minutes on stage. It was just really awesome. They're super good. All right. And again, like I said, not in any particular order of anything. All right. So this next one is one that I'd be surprised if anybody hasn't heard of them. But I learned a whole bunch of interesting things about them. I didn't really know too terribly much about them. This particular thing I'm going to show you is another one of the first things that I heard that was harmonized that really, turned me on to that. But I was really surprised when I found out some of the stuff about him. So anyhow, what I'm talking about here is Thin Lizzy. And so this is Scott Gorham and Snowy White. It just sounds amazing, and that was really turned me on to that whole type of playing. So when I was getting stuff together for this, because like I didn't know what the guitar player, Thin Lizzy, what his name was or anything like that. I'm not I'm not that I don't know. I used to really nerd out on that kind of stuff when I was young. I just I knew everything, and the older I get, gotta get where I can't remember my own name. But yeah, they had Brian Robertson, Gary Moore, John Sykes, Vivian Campbell, all have played in Thin Lizzy at some point in time or another, and Scott Travis from the drummer for Judas Priest plays drums for him. He's like a touring drummer for Thin Lizzy, and I was just I didn't know any idea all about that stuff. That Vivian Campbell, I was like, when the hell was Vivian Campbell in that? But it must have been like before Def Leppard or something, or maybe it's something he does on the side. I don't know, but yeah, that kind of really surprised me. And remember too, this is just your average Q&A too. So if anybody's got any questions or anything, go ahead and put them in, put it in the chat. Right. So this next one here, you may have heard of them. One of the guitar players you've heard of for sure. But this band was a Sunset Strip band in the 80s. They never really got anywhere, not for lack of talent, because the band was amazing. The drummer I was just talking about, Scott Travis from Judas Priest, he was in this band. And the bass player went on to do the Mars Volta. And then these two guitar players, one of them is still what? Oh. Well, I guess this is still working. I've got some kind of a weird error on my screen. Oh shit, did I lose the internet connection? Well, don't know if anybody are even seeing any of this now, because wonderful. Well, I don't know if you can hear any of this. I don't know how this is working. I'm not sure what is going on here, but all right. Well,